Good morning. Good morning. It's Pause with Elizabeth Elenor, and my internet's a little bit slow, so hopefully this is going to work well. They're doing road works and all sorts of stuff in my area, so hopefully you're going to see me okay. It's playing up a little bit on my end, but we'll see. So I hope everyone has had a beautiful weekend, and I went see Vivid in Sydney in the weekend, which was beautiful. So it was the last weekend of Vivid, so it was nice to be out and about in the city in Sydney. So today I want to ask you, are you distracted? Do you get distracted from what your desires and your goals are? And how do you distract yourself? Because there are two different ways that we can be in creation. We can be creating from what I call the superconscious, from our genius, our higher self, where we are in flow with our creation. We can see the end result, we can see what it is that we want to create, and we just go for it, right? We take the action, we take the steps, and we move into this beautiful orientation of being creative, and all this connection, all of this beautiful energy that comes through us that then moves us towards what we want to create, and everything just sort of goes into alignment. Or we can be in our dysfunction and in our identity. And in our identity, we tend to make excuses as to why things aren't working out, and we distract ourselves, right? We're in our dysfunctional space, and we go for what, I call it the path of least resistance. And so in the path of least resistance, we tend to go back into our old patterns of behavior, right? And so, some people may sit and watch Netflix, and some may, talk on the phone to their friends, and some may clean the house. That's one of my dysfunctions, is that when I'm supposed to be doing something that I know is going to push me forward, is going to create that beautiful experience that I know, that, life that I love, and living in my genius zone, then when I can, if I don't catch it, if I'm not in my superconscious energy all the time, which, we can't be in it all the time, because we do live here on the planet, and we're here to experience ourselves and to learn more about the process of evolving, and what sort of feedback we're getting when we get into those dysfunctional patterns, and breaking them down, and where do they come from, and all of those things. We don't need to go into it, but we know that that's part of the process, right? And so what I tend to do is I clean, your subconscious patterning can be very, very subtle, and can be very, very tricky, because it tells you that you're doing the right thing. You think, well, this actually needs to be done. And so I tend to start cleaning. And so, or I tend to start cooking, or, distracting myself in some way with other things that are in my life, that are to-do lists, that are on my to-do list. And so when you're in that distraction mode or dysfunctional mode, you totally believe it, because that's what's kept you going, that's what's helped you survive through all these years, and it's your identity. It's what makes you feel safe and comfortable. And so when we're in that mode, what happens is we generalize things, we tend to assume things, and we, let me go back a bit. Our subconscious patterns You know, way back, you know, in times of being in tribes and living in the jungle, for example, if we heard a new noise, we had to you know, be aware of it. What is that new noise? Because it's our survival, right? And if we heard a familiar noise, like a growl or something like that, you tend to go, oh, I know what this is, and this is my assumption of what is there that I can't see. I can hear it, but I'm going to assume that it's this, and these are the steps that I need to take to keep in my survival mode, right? And so these days there's not that much that's new to us, so we start generalizing things. So for example, has anyone ever sat on a lounge and it's softer than you were expecting, or harder than you were expecting, or it's going to be lower than you expected, and you have a moment of, oh, that's different, right? Because we start to generalize what our the patterns of behavior. So that happens with all sorts of things. So if you meet someone that's got a very similar energy to somebody else, then you start generalizing what that person's behavior is. And if you had a bad experience with that person, then you're going to start assuming and generalizing what this person in front of you is like. And so I actually sent a video to someone the other day, and one of the comments that she made was, oh, you know, I didn't like the look of that person. It reminded me of an old boyfriend. And so, you know, I was a bit put off by the type of person that this person was, right? Because there's an assumption there. This is what the behavior's been before, and so this is what the behavior is now. And so we make all these assumptions in our new reality and our present reality, which then, you know, changes the way we're going to behave, or the way what sort of results we're going to get in the future. So if you have been brought up with the distortion of I'm not capable to go for the job that I love, or go for you know, building my own business, for example. If you've been brought up with I'm not capable, then you can actually assume that you need all these qualifications, or you need to keep learning in some way. You need to get a piece of paper so that you can get more money, right? And so you make all these assumptions, and then you start trying to rectify that identity by going and doing another course, or getting another certificate, instead of just going for it. When you're in your real genius, in your superconscious energy, that higher aspect of yourself, that intuitive nature, that sort of kicks in, and it might be that you need to get that piece of paper because of the job, for example. But there's a different way you're orientating. If you're doing it to fix yourself, then you're still in your old identity, and you will find that things will be hard and challenging, and they won't flow very well when you're still trying to fix yourself. You're still in this loop with this old oscillating pattern of trying to you know, fix something that you feel is broken, and it's very subtle. You also may go into getting that certification or that piece of paper from the place of being in a creative mode, right? And I'm doing that at the moment, because I have a piece of paper that I need to get, and I'm getting it not from a place of I need to get it to prove myself that I that, you know, that there's that I need it to be capable. It's more from a place of, one of my dysfunctions is that I don't complete things sometimes, and I just jump straight into things. And so as a creative process, I'm doing it to complete that process. And then, now it's saying my internet's slow. I'm hoping that this is working okay. So one of the exercises that I like to share with you is, you know, think of something that you would love to create, and or that you've already created. Think of something that you've already created, and think about coming from your heart. You know, when you were in your heart and you were just flowing and you created this beautiful thing. That's when you're in your superpower. That's when you're in your innocence, and you're in this intuitive nature, and life is just flowing really, really smoothly, and it's just going, you're going for it, right? And now I want you to think of something when you were, you know, you didn't actually achieve the result that you wanted, or you might have achieved it, but it wasn't exactly the result that you wanted. You wanted something, and you know, you actually settled for a lower or a different result, right? And think about that when you were, you know, did you struggle when you were in your identity? Did you struggle through that process? What was it that you found you were doing? Did you distract yourself in some way so that you weren't actually, you know, it took a lot longer than you expected because you were distracting yourself through the process, and you didn't get the results that you wanted, so you settled for something else instead, right? There's a very, very big difference between when you're in creative mode and you're in this beautiful super conscious orientation where you're in flow and in what I call in your innocence. Like, my innocence is my superpower, because my innocence is the part of me that I can connect to, because in that space I don't have to know the how. In fact, I let go of even knowing any of that. I just go with what my intuitive nature is telling me. And so when I'm in my superpower, in my innocence, I'm not trying to work out all the details. I'm just going with not knowing, and whatever the guidance is that is coming up for me, whatever the gut feeling I'm getting. And so, but when I'm in my dysfunction, I'm overthinking. I get overwhelmed. I look at my to-do list and all of the things that I need to achieve, and they start becoming overwhelming. And then I've got this big long list of all these things that I need to do, and I go and clean instead. Right? I go and I get distracted from people saying, hey, do you want to go out for lunch, or do you want to go out for dinner, or do you want to do this, or do you want to do that? And I say, yeah, sure, you know, and I in this place of, well, you know, I can do that other thing later, right? So where do you sit? I'd love to get in the comments what's landing for you. What is, I want you to reflect and pause for a moment and just think about, when is it that you have been in this place of living in your heart and going for something that you really, really choose just because you choose it. It's a true choice. It's part of your destiny. You know that it's part of your destiny. And the sun just came out of the clouds. And feel into that. Feel when you're in your heart and you're connecting to something. And what is it that you would like in the future? What do you really choose? I'm just going to move back because the sun's just come out and I haven't moved my curtains back. What is it that you would really love to create? And just sit with that for a moment in your heart. I really choose to create this. This is my choice. And feel into it with your heart and just make that choice and just feel, is this a true choice? Is this a choice that is going to bring me joy and love and happiness and fulfillment and freedom? Or is this a choice that is actually coming from a place of trying to resolve some sort of tension within myself, where I don't feel like I'm good enough, or I don't feel perfect, and if I make this choice, I'm going to feel significant, I'm going to feel like I belong in some way. It's going to make me feel more comfortable. It's going to keep me small. It's going to keep me small. Us women, that's one of the big ones, right? Don't be seen, don't shine, don't be visible, because that's scary. We actually have a long history of that being dangerous, that being very dangerous for us. Not even just going back, when I say that, a lot of people think back to times when people were, women were ridiculed for being herbalists and midwives and using their intuition, right? But even not that long ago, going for the vote, choosing to stand up and say we've got rights also. We should be able to walk in a park without feeling unsafe. We should be able to run for Prime Minister or for President or the CEO of a high-end company, right? And not be ridiculed for the way we're dressing or slammed for the way we behave, the language that we're using, or whatever it might be. We're still in all of those dysfunctional behaviors as a society, right? We're still having challenges with that. And so what is it that you're choosing to create? And I know for myself, I've been working in this type of healing modality. I don't even call it a healing modality because we're not broken. We don't need to be fixed. But what we're doing is reorientating millennia of dysfunctional identity, of trying to fix ourselves and feeling like there's something wrong with us. And so, it's a huge task to change the world into reorientating into their creative focus, right? Or it isn't. That could be an assumption and a definition that I've just labelled, and I catch myself every so often. It could be hard, and it could be not. I could be just, just go with the joy and the flow and enjoy myself, sharing these sort of snippets of information with people that are interested and watching and supporting them to shift their orientation to be in their creative mode, right? And so, we've had generation after generation after generation of having to work out how to fix yourself. And so, I've been only doing this for a little while. I'd say I'm coming up to 2 years of my nearly 25 years of healing and being an energy coach, and so, you know, the foundation has been really, really good for me to have all of that in my past to, you know, orientate all of this new information that I'm sharing now. And it really is about shifting our focus and recognizing that we're actually more than just a body. We're more than this little self. We're more than our identity. We are actually an aspect of the all, of a higher source, of a field of infinite possibilities and information. And when we can expand ourselves and expand our orientation and recognize ourselves as more than this limited being and unplug from the matrix, as they say, and I've got something to share with that in a minute, but when we can actually recognize that, we are super powerful. We are powerful beings that have the ability to create whatever we choose to create, and to really step into that focus and to step into that orientation and to allow that energy to come through, and, you know, and to dream. So many, that's where I was going with that, so many of my clients actually don't even remember or know what it is that they choose to create, because we've been so caught up in our identity of fixing ourselves that we've lost that that dream state of creation, and we've been conditioned to believe that it's actually childish, that it's wrong, that it's immature, that it's not possible. And I'm here to tell you it is. It is possible, and it is not, and it is childish, but we are children. Internally, we are an infinite soul that has the ability, you know, like, to be childlike and to be innocent. And that's actually where our superpower comes from, is to step out of that generalizing of our identity, of others and the world, and to step back into our innocence of seeing everything as brand new and recognizing that we are creating it all. This is all an illusion that that we are identifying with and thinking that this is all that there is, and it's actually not true. You are super powerful. You are a creator. You have infinite possibilities. And when you let go of your old identity, the conditioned patterns of not being good enough, and allow that innocence to come through and just create out of joy, your whole world will change. And it's a really beautiful place to be in. And people have snippets of it sometimes, but to live it a lot of the time is just exceptional. And so one of the things that I have just, you know, recognized is it that we want to unplug from the matrix and from the illusion? I don't think so. Because when we're unplugging, that means, you know, stepping out of it. But we're never actually, when we're in a body, we're never going to step out of it, because we're here to experience it. We're here to experience the illusion. We're here to experience ourselves as a limited being, with a small body and a small opportunity to make a difference to ourselves, and to learn and to grow and experience being human. And so is it more that we don't want to unplug? Is it more that we would like to reprogram the way we orientate to the matrix? and recognizing ourselves as a limited being having an experience, and whatever he or she chooses to create, right? And that's a whole different ball game, right? That's a whole different place to sit, is to go, yes, I'm in this body, yes, I'm in an illusion in this matrix, yes, I'm having fun in that place, and this is what I'm choosing to create in this moment, because we can't have it all at the same time, right? Because then we wouldn't flavor each experience. We wouldn't have the opportunity. If we had all the different flavors of ice cream all together in your mouth, it wouldn't have the same experience, right? And that beautiful sun is coming in just in time for me to nearly finish. So I want to leave you with that thought. Where do you distract yourself? What is the distraction? Where do you distract yourself? What is the distraction? And it's a behavior, right? It's a behavior that you have conditioned yourself to do so that you can stay in your small identity, so that you can experience yourself as broken. And I'm telling you that you don't have to. When you see yourself distracting yourself, pick yourself up and refocus. What is it that I'm choosing to create? And start taking the actions towards that. What is it that what action do I need to take now to move me closer to my end result that, that I want to achieve? So that's me and the sun. And I hope you have a beautiful week. And I may see you on Wednesday Wisdom, which is Wednesday the same time, 8:30. And I'd love to hear in the comments what jumped out at you, and what sort of behaviors you do to distract yourself from actually living the life that you love and living the purpose that you came here to do, experience and be that super powerful creator that you are. Enjoy.